Thank you very much. I now would like to ask some questions, but before I do, I would just like to, I think we tend to forget, I mean, nobody wanted this virus to come into our lives and, interrupt life. But we tend to forget the exceptional, outstanding ingenuity, the genius of scientists that were able to sequence the genome of this virus in such a short time. It took them less time to sequence the genome than they did in actually performing clinical tests. And that's that's some of the things we tend to forget, and we also only look at the interruption in our lives. But let me go, Miss Erb, downward. A school can be more than just a place where students learn. For students experiencing homelessness and students in foster care, school can be a lifeline to meeting their basic needs, including food and clothing, in addition to education. So, what are some of the challenges that homeless students and students in foster care face during the pandemic, and how does the president's call to reopen schools address those challenges?
So I think when we think about the challenges that homeless students face, if anyone has children, you can think about the challenges you see your children facing, and then you can magnify that by thousands. One, in terms of opening schools, the first thing the president's planned on is focus on opening schools safely. We have to open schools. That is critical. They need to be open safely. Parents, as has been mentioned, many parents are still scared to send their kids to school. So we have to figure out, how do we provide parents the supports they need to feel comfortable getting their children to school. So, I think the additional pieces there really are ensuring access to transportation, making sure that we are addressing food support needs, in the interim and at school. One thing that I have to go back to what Dr. Lane said, that, before the pandemic, there was not enough funding to meet the needs of homeless students. I'd like to give the example of Detroit, where I work. They have done incredible things to improve their identification system. But, initially they had identified, the Detroit public school system, which serves, 46,000 children, had identified 615 homeless students.
Yeah. So
just to give you perspective, 16% of students are estimated to be homeless there. So.
Okay, I do ask, so how does allowing schools to use funds for these purposes help students experiencing homelessness? Just as short an answer as you can.
I think it provides flexibility for people to actually focus on meeting the needs of homeless students. People have different needs.
All right. So in the short time I have left, Ms. Linda Coates, Congress has appropriated a total of $2 billion in supplemental funding for Head Start programs during the pandemic. So can you please tell us how your program has taken advantage of these funds, and how have those funds been used to support children experiencing homelessness or children in foster care?
Yeah, thank you. So as I discussed earlier, one of the primary ways we used to keep children connected, and also to provide PPE for those children who were face-to-face. We really did want to make sure that we had spaces available for families of children who wanted to continue face-to-face. And we have partnerships with our child care agency. So although our district was closed for programming, our child care partners remain open with spaces that serve our families. And we also, again, I wanted to just reiterate, we also spent money to inform the teachers and help the teachers do the best that they can in the digital space for those families who chose to remain digital.
Yeah, and I have two of my youngest are actually teachers. One of them is a special ed teacher, and I did watch some of the frustrations they had, and also now both are very open to coming in and teaching summer school for their students that need to catch up. And you know, of course, that's their summer, but that they said their commitment is, and it's very important that their students catch up. So I want to thank you. Thank you very much. My time is just about up, but